Welcome to Fam Talk. I am your host, Conscious Self. Today's show is brought to you by Raw Market. Remember the scent and develop your growth. With that said, let's get right into today's show. We will be talking about peace government. What is peace government? Well, what does it sound like to you? Let's break down the two words. We're going to talk about peace. Peace is something that you have to find from within. There's not going to be too much peace outside of yourself at all moments. So I suggest that you find your peace from within because that will always set you towards your harmony, and that harmony will always give you a good vibration about life, right? Because we're not going to always have the highest vibrations during each day we share here on this planet. So, as we're going through life, we have to be able to find ways to keep ourselves in a state of being where we can just let the vibration guide us, take us further within life. And that's what we do here when we set up our peace government. We allow our mind and our body to be in a state of being where we unite it with the silence that we have. And the silence that we have is the silence that we take out within each day to receive and to give messages to ourselves, right? Um, Depending on the order we have in our life will show how much we are able to produce, right? Because if there's no order in our lives, then we won't produce as much um, from from this peace from within. But if we are using some type of order, we will find more peace from within, and that's because the order that we have. And with me, I always try to realign myself with the divine order within myself because that put things in its nature. And when things is in its nature, the act of communication with the body and the mind and spirit, it becomes into one. And now that oneness or that one allows my my field of expressing my own possessions to be able to be released into that oneness, which becomes my self intelligence, right? Um, the oneness that I put my mind, my body, and my spirit into one intelligence. I'm not trying to defend myself in any way, mentally, physically, or spiritually, in any separate way. I'm showing my self intelligence to show you there's oneness. So that alone allows me to govern my peace because I have the intelligence to do so. The second thing I want to talk about um, is becoming the ruler of the universe, your universe, not this entire planet that we're on, or not the universe that this planet is within, but the universe within yourself. Because when you become the ruler of your universe from within, that means you have become fully awakened. And there are some things when you become fully awakened that occurs. And we could talk about that at another time. But when you are fully awakened, now you have the ability to not only listen to your thoughts, but you're actually able to program your thoughts to obey your command. Yes, your thoughts have to be commanded for you to benefit the manifestation that comes from a thought. Because if you're not demanding your thoughts to manifest for you in the present moment, then some other thought will, right? And before we get too much into the conversation, let's talk about where sounds and thoughts come from, right? Where do sounds and thoughts come from? Well, to my understanding, thoughts and sound come from silence. When when you are in silence, you are met by many thoughts. And you don't have to be in silence to be met by many thoughts, but I notice my thoughts more when I'm in silence. Sound comes from silence. Without the silence, how do you hear the sound that was created? Like I said, it'll be a bunch of noise. Noise and sound is something different. Thoughts and noise is something different until you allow your thoughts to be overwhelm you, then the thoughts become noise. But when you're able to have your thoughts obey your command, then there's no noise from the thoughts that you're having. That actually leads you into harmony. That's actually what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about harmony and how your thoughts can lead you into a harmony which will give you the vibration and the rhythm. And once you have the vibration and the rhythm, then all type of sounds will be created to lead you closer to that vibration, right? We use sound for an indicator on where we should send the energy. And the sound that we hear comes from the vibration of a certain object or a certain being. And so when we pick that up, we're able to filter where this sound needs to go or where this thought needs to go. Meaning, does this thought need to be um, pushed over and out the way and not entertained, or maybe this thought needs to be focused on and repeated, and then maybe this thought needs to take action, or this thought needs to create words to define this thought, and that's where you start to create a sound. There's some sounds that are created through thoughts, and then there's some sounds that's just created through silence. You got to kind of know the difference between what is actually occurring in the minds of your brain and in your being. You have to be aware, and that's where awareness overstands most things that we deal with, because awareness is always watching everything happen and take its course. So when you are having these thoughts, your awareness is already it's already been there. It's already been waiting for those thoughts to come across your mind. It's already been waiting for those sounds to come across your ears, right? Your awareness is always there to see if you're listening, to see if you're obeying. Your awareness is always a step ahead of you in the present moment. So the awareness is what allows you to take your vibration to the highest level. But that vibration starts to go up that mountain or that level once you reach harmony. And harmony is very key to reaching. And you can reach that by obeying your thoughts. Excuse me, by having your thoughts obey you, the being. Because you can have your thoughts turn into focus instead of distractions. You can have your thoughts turn into discipline instead of overthinking. But that is having your thoughts obey your command. It's very important for you to understand that and not let the thought confuse you that I want this, I want that has more authority over the authority set over the I. Because the I has no value, has no energy behind the I. You're trying to get authority by saying I. But once the I has no value, then what you're trying to get is either in your own way or you're trying to slow the flow of the present moment, which doesn't go well with the alignment of the energy that's going to move forward. You don't want to get knocked over or you don't want to get knocked over with the energy that is flowing right now. You would rather take a seat back and observe and allow this energy to take its course, but you um, also have the awareness that you are up against some things that you might can't see that will come out from the blind side. But you are prepared, or you should have been prepared for times like this where when uncertainty arises on the doorstep, you're able to just let things unfold in a moment, right? And then rely on your inner balance so you can play the roles that serves the self that you have in order, meaning whatever self that you're in alignment with. That's why we like to try to stay in alignment with the divine order, because that order would actually help you in your routines, right? In your routines is things that you do weekly, monthly, and throughout the year. And these routines come from your habits, right? Your habits and your patterns. But that's the hard work that we have in our routine is if we have good habits, then our patterns will become um, patterns of hard work that leads us right into having things actually work for us and not against us because you already have a lot of inner chatter going on in your mind. Your mind is always trying to adapt to the social world. So you have to understand that with all this inner chatter going on, you gotta be able to not get caught up in just the talk and still do the work, right? That's why we sometimes find ourselves having these conversations in our head for so long and then realize that we didn't even do the work. We haven't even started doing the work. And then we're asking and seeing, why is things not going nowhere? Why can't I focus on this and that? Well, it's your own energy just not being in order and deflecting all of your messages that you have for yourself. Um, so you're not able to actually get what's needed for you to move forward with the momentum that's in front of you. Because the energy is always trying to have you at your newer version. It's not about being better, it's about renewing and becoming a new being each day that we wake up, because today is different than yesterday, right? And we don't want to stay in the same vibration when today is a higher vibration. And so I don't want to talk too long um, without doing some Q&A. So we'll do a part one with this right now, and we'll revisit this with a part two after I get a couple questions on what was said, and then I can also go a little bit in depth more with the sound versus thought, and more into our field of expressing our own possessions leads to self-intelligence, because I feel we can go a little bit more into that, because that allows us to show our truth and our power, um, by staying in divine order and having a government to protect our peace. With that said, I hope everyone out there is staying safe, praying for others, praying for themselves. Um, yes, and just continue to move forward with this energy. We're moving towards the mid-April, and the new moon is approaching. Other planets will be moving and shifting to new signs next week. So the energy is definitely moving. Things are in flow. And if you can find yourself um, moving towards your goals, which is bringing the minds together in one collective, so you can move in the present moment and actually experience life and not have to wonder what it is to be fully awakened. Ashe.